Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It is I, your host, Mr. Sean, and today we are diving into r/inceltear. I have stayed clear of this subreddit for a while, as sometimes reading the posts can be a little bit soul-sucking, but I think I found some today that we can laugh at, that we can critique, and maybe not feel absolutely drained at the end of. For those of you who don't know, incels are self-proclaimed involuntary celibates, and that, people who attribute basically all of their problems to the fact that they are not getting laid. Furthermore, it's not just the act of not having sex. Many of them want a pure, traditional wife. Basically, there is a lot of misogyny, anti-LGBTQ, anti-sex work. Honestly, just anti-everything that isn't a submissive wife who will do whatever the man says and was a virgin when you got married. Basically, not all virgins are incels, not all incels are virgins, common misconception. Just people that, would like to be getting laid, aren't getting laid, and usually that is due to their own toxicity, but they want to blame everyone but themselves. Just because someone isn't getting laid doesn't make them an incel. So, we're going to take a look at this. We're going to look at some of these posts. We're going to read them. We're going to critique them. But please, just because we might not agree with these people, don't seek them out. No harassment, anything like that. We can all have a good laugh here on this video, and that's really where it should stay. We are going to get into these posts in just a second, but before we do that, I would like to take a moment to tell you a little bit about my Patreon. I recently did start a Patreon, though I do not have any patrons yet. I did want to tell you a little bit about the different tiers. If you're looking for a bargain, I do have my fan tier, which is only $3 a month, and that's just a way to support the channel and have my eternal gratitude. At just $2 above that, you have the enthusiast tier. For $5 a month, your name will appear in a list shout-out at the end of every video, along with other patrons in this tier. If you're willing to go up to $10 a month to the beta club, in which you're helping me build a beta tomorrow, when you join this tier, not only do you get to shout out on the list at the end of every video, once a week I will shout out all of my beta club patrons verbally at the end of one video a week. Also, you will have access on the Patreon to exclusive voting about both what new minis I'm going to make, as well as what kind of new videos I will make in the future. Now, the last two tiers are my favorite, not only because, they make me more money, but because you get the chance to win free minis. I am a mini maker after all, so minis are my bread and butter, so to speak. At $15 a month, we have the Chimera Club, where on top of getting all of the previous benefits from the lower tiers, you are also entered every month into winning a custom miniature that will be given away to one lucky patron in this tier every month. This will typically be one of my custom kit-bashed, one-of-a-kind miniatures, similar to the ones I give away on this channel when we hit certain subscriber counts. And the final tier, at $20 a month, is called Put Some Skin in Your Game. Now, this tier is much like the Chimera Club in that you get all of the prizes from the lower tier, only in this one you are entered into a different giveaway. In this giveaway, that will be one free mini will be given away each month to one of my patrons in this tier, is going to be one of my not safe for work miniatures. Now, you might know that I do not raffle off these kind of miniatures on the channel because of just the simple fact that I don't know exactly if that violates any of YouTube's things. These are 18+ miniatures, so, just kind of covering my ass on this one. But, so if you join the Put Some Skin in Your Game tier, you have the potential to win one of these every month. I also wanted to show that if you join the Patreon this month in July, if you join either the Chimera Club or the Put Some Skin in Your Game tiers, here are the minis you could potentially win. First up is the giveaway mini from the Chimera Club, which is the Tin Manstrosity. This is kind of a body horror mutant Tin Man miniature I made a while ago, and I'm pretty proud of this one. I was looking at what should my first Chimera giveaway be on the Patreon. I'm like, how about this guy? And up next, if you join the Put Some Skin in Your Game, you have this custom not safe for work hero click of Medusa. This is from the Wonder Woman set from a little while back. She has been repainted to, again, be Sans top. So yeah, I just wanted to show you what you could potentially win if you join, and again, the miniature you could potentially win will change every month, and each month one lucky patron will win the giveaway miniature. And with all that being said, saying thank you so much for listening to my little pitch there, let's get into today's posts. Up first, we have an intellectual incel telling us the difference between him and most incels. You want girls. I want women. You want a girlfriend. I want a wife. You want money. I want wealth. You want a lottery ticket. I want a career. You want a social circle. I want a family. You want pleasure. I want fulfillment. You want status. I want class. Seeing some of the posts here are pretty childish. It's obvious that while some true selves want to build something with our lives, building a family dynasty that we can bestow generational wealth to, some people here are just high schoolers who want to fuck a pretty girl. So, some of the saddest posts we see from the incel forums are people who are so close to getting the point, getting the picture, figuring out a way out of this incel mindset that they all seem trapped in, but they're just a little bit off, and that is kind of what we have here. Like, overall, this is a pretty mild post compared to some of the stuff you see on the incel pages. But the problem is that, like most incels, this person fails to see two things. One, that different preferences exist and are okay. You know, sometimes just having a girlfriend is fine. Maybe you don't need a wife. You know, maybe different people want different things. You know, some people want friends, some people want family. That's fine. But then at the bottom, you really get the, what is almost universal in the incel community, and one of the biggest reasons they tend to never climb their way out of this mentality and never really succeed in what they want, is this inherent sense of superiority. Again, building a family dynasty that we can bestow generational wealth to, like he's some kind of Rockefeller. And if that's your goal, you know, ultimately great, I wish you luck, but you don't need to talk down to others to get what you want, to get your goals. So while maybe some of his ideas are a little less toxic, he's still in the incel community. He's still talking to these people. He's even, you know, he's not just saying, I'm better than the normies, I'm better than women. He's saying he's better than other incels. And one of the biggest reasons these guys don't get laid is that people can tell that they think they're better than everybody else. And that's not a good way to get laid. It's not a good way to have friends. And, you know, so this guy, Maybe if he can check his ego at the door, he'll get to where he needs to be. Marrying a virgin is no different than marrying a porn star. People aren't defined only by what they do, but more importantly, by what they wish, crave, and long for. And when it comes to that, both your trad virgin girl and Lana Rhoades want exactly the same thing. A dude that's completely opposite of you. If rightfully so, the past is more important, the present is even more fundamental, and the present is her pussy wetting itself obscenely while Chad eye fucks her while you're both walking outside / buying stuff. In a fraction of a second, he makes her feel more alive than you ever will in thousands of lives. Complete defeat. Accepting that she's blowing him in her mind just because she doesn't act on her fantasy is laughable. Why do you think normies hate pedophiles / minor attracted people even if they don't act on their desires? 'Cause to them, the desire itself is so vile, spineless, and detestable that you're now a monster. If Normans can arrive instinctually at this fundamental concept, I don't see why I should tolerate cock-craving sluts that just suppress their instinct, but that deep inside consider you a second choice. It's loneliness or cuckoldry when you truly understand how things work. And here we have a great example of incel logic. Incels are they're very black and white, like it's everything or nothing. There can't be any kind of extenuating circumstances, and they always think they've got you in this like gotcha moment where it's like, haha, I'm using your logic against you, you cuckolded beta buxer. And so what they're saying is basically that all women want Chad, which the incels love talking about women wanting Chad, probably because deep down, incels either want to be Chad or they themselves want to fuck Chad. But this idea that if it can be considered evil to be attracted to minors or children, then being attracted to anyone who isn't your significant other is just as bad and also cheating. And ultimately, this logic is flawed because it's like, if you truly never act on your desire for minors or children, you're not going to be looking at the art. You're not going that people make, underage anime characters. You're not going to be talking about how you'd never do it, but you should totally be allowed to. These are not the things of a stable individual. This is someone who wants to act on it, but is afraid of the consequences. It's very similar to people who the only reason they don't go out and kill somebody is because God is watching. That doesn't make you a good person, that makes you afraid. And even in what I just said, there are a lot of incels who probably go, haha, but that's why they don't cheat, is because they're afraid of the consequences. But ultimately, you don't cheat because you wouldn't do that because you don't want to hurt your partner. It's not necessarily about the consequences, except for that the consequence is that you hurt someone you care about. Attraction of a physical sense is a biological reaction. You can see somebody and you're going to be like, ooh, they're really attractive. But you still have the ability to not act on it. And ultimately, yes, if you're not wanting to act on these thoughts, then there's no harm in it. It's the look but don't touch idea. Because there's nothing wrong with being attracted to an attractive adult. Again, we're talking about adult, we're talking about consent, we're talking about not having these ideas about harming someone. Again, if you're attracted to an adult, but all of your fantasies involve things that are non-consensual, that's just as bad as ogling and lusting after people that are too young to consent. And the people that say, oh, I've never acted on it, those aren't the people that have never, quote unquote, acted on it. There are people who truly realize that if that is their attraction, they have a problem and they want to get help, and they might even be afraid to because of how they're getting lumped in with all the people who don't see a problem in the way that they think. But ultimately, no, there is nothing wrong. It's called a sexual fantasy. People have them. People might see someone and go, ooh, I bet they're good in bed. Men and women do it. And I love how this particular incel only focuses on the idea that a woman will look at a Chad and will fantasize about them and that she is cheating, as if he's never looked at a woman and gone, God, I'd like to hit that. But you'll see incels are also full of double standards. Basically, hooking up with a 304, that's a hoe, by the way, is just masturbation, but using her body to feed your climax as a man. Only when trying to conceive birth are you truly having passionate, genuine sex. Anything else is just masturbation with the female body involved. This is why women who don't mind hooking up are usually low self-esteem and typically unable to keep an alpha or Chad's attention. They'll allow a man to use their body, then once their body depreciates, they'll hook whatever sucker on the line to pay the full price. This is why I prefer to date/hook up with women in their prime. Thumbs up. Nothing worse than sleeping with a woman you have no intention of having kids with past your prime. You're just getting leftovers from Chad. So here we have the really common incel mentality that there is a prime age of women when incels like to call their most fertile and when, their bodies haven't depreciated, because incels tend to think that women all hit the wall at 30, but that if you get with a girl who is not a virgin, who is not super young, you're getting leftovers from all the Chads that they've fucked. Basically equating a woman's value to virginity and fertility and looks. And if you are someone who believes in not having sex before marriage and you seek a partner that has that same mentality, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but you have to remember that not everybody holds your ideals the same regard that you do, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's when you start to judge others and look at them as evil or worthless or used up, all because they don't share your mentality, that's wrong. Also, in a lot of cases, an incel's views, anti-casual sex views, is because they can't get any, so they don't believe, if they can't enjoy a hookup, then nobody should. And by this guy's logic, I've never had genuine sex in my entire life because I've never tried to make a baby, and I've actually since had a vasectomy. So apparently I've done nothing but use a woman's body for masturbation, and that just is weird, a weird way to look at it. Serious question. How do I find a girlfriend? I'm 165 centimeters, aka 5 foot 5 inches, and girls prefer taller guys. I have a severe stutter to the point where people pity me and or mistake me for a mentally challenged person. I'm afraid of people my age or younger because I don't trust them, which is a result of a past bullying. I have a kidney disease, so I can't go to the gym and have a skinny fat physique. On top of that, I'm currently preparing for a transplant. Additionally, my sexual ability is limited. Moreover, I have been diagnosed with total work disability and live on disability benefits. I don't have my own place and live with my parents. I can't think of any reason why any girl should love me. Here we have the less toxic, at least the less outwardly toxic side of inceldom and a more inwardly toxic look at it. It sounds like this particular incel has had a very hard life, has not maybe had the best interactions with people, and as such has kind of, is very down on themselves, and I am very sad to hear that. If for some reason this person happens to be watching my video, I would like to give you these words of encouragement. I did not have a serious girlfriend or get laid until I was 30. I once saw a guy that, by all accounts, had as sad a life as you did. I mean, he was definitely going through some stuff, and he ended up dating and is still dating. They've been together longer than I've been in my relationship, with one of the most free-spirited and, sexually, sex-positive thinking women I've ever met. And they're very happy together. So there is literally someone out there for everyone. And that doesn't mean you're going to have to settle. I do hope that, especially once you get your transplant, that you are maybe able to enter the world a little bit more, that you are allowed to, able to find confidence in yourself. And I really do hope that things turn around for you, because sometimes your biggest enemy is yourself. And I hope you can get away from that. I think that sometimes we forget that behind some of these cringy posts, there are real people with real problems that need, compassion and just need that little bit of positivity in their lives to change their lives for the better and escape the cycle of negative thinking so prevalent in the incel community. So this next one is definitely a postception. So this is off the inceltear subreddit, which this is a repost of a post from the incel forum that was a repost of a post from inceltears that was a repost of a post from 4chan. Proof that 4chan is irrelevant and cucked. That's why I don't go on this website full of faggots, troons, and communists anymore. Commenting on the repost of Incels Mentally Ill and Socially Inept, which is a repost of the following post. Incel cries about being unable to have sex and thus being labeled an incel. Tell incel the truth just to have sex with an escort. No, that doesn't count. Tell the incel to go clubbing and talk to people. No, club girls aren't pure. Tell the incel to find hobbies to meet nice people. I only like anime and gaming. I want a pure virgin girlfriend who likes anime and gaming like me. Your problems are not real. You are just mentally ill. And the final response to all of this is, I did all this shit and it doesn't work. Also, what the fuck does the last sentence even mean? If you are mentally ill, your problems are real. Yes, that is very true, that mental illness is a real problem. The thing is that saying that you tried all these and it doesn't work, I would like very much to know, how many times did you try this? So this is a tangent from my own life, because as I've stated, I am an official wizard. I was a virgin until I was 30, but I like this guy. I didn't want to go have sex with an escort. One, because it's illegal, and I didn't really know where I could even do that, but for me, the whole idea wasn't just that I was missing out on sex, it was that I was missing out on that closeness that you get when you are in an intimate and romantic relationship. I didn't go to clubs because I was not a club person, and if I met a girl who liked going to clubs, that just wouldn't have worked out for me. So I decided that I was going to get hobbies, live my life the way I wanted to, and God willing, luck willing, whatever forces of the universe you believe in, I would therefore meet someone that I was compatible with. And it took many years, but that's exactly how I did it. I ended up meeting my fiance when she came to a session of D&D I was dungeon mastering for. And we were friends for years until we both ended up being single at roughly the same time, because both of us had been in relationships that had ended. Her breakup was a little bit more serious than mine. I had not been dating my girlfriend at the time for very long, but we ended up together, and we are still together, and we are getting married later this year. And my father used to tell me that I would never meet a girl if I didn't stop spending all of my time playing video games and Dungeons and Dragons, and in fact, that is exactly how I met my future wife. So sometimes you just have to keep at it, and ideally, too, you shouldn't be getting these hobbies. You shouldn't be living your life and your interests so you can meet a girl. You should be doing it because these things bring you joy. And if you are living a life that brings you joy, you will be a joyful person, and people will want to actually spend time with you, and that is how you meet people. And maybe your issues are caused by mental illness, maybe they're just caused by self-doubt. I don't know, I can't say, but you can't just try something once and then give up. In fact, you can't ever give up. Unless you're willing to just lie down in a ditch and die, you can't give up. That's kind of how life works.
Advice needed. What is the best way to blackpill my brother? My brother is 2 inches taller than me at 5 foot 4 inches. He managed to money max in order to become a beta bucks. He and his wife, 50, are trying to get pregnant. This is a very bad idea. I didn't tell him yet, but I need to find a way to blackpill him so he knows the truth and doesn't create another subhuman manlet. Of course, the baby could turn out to be a woman, and that would be okay, but in the chance that the baby turns out to be a boy, it would be over before it even began. My brother is very blue-pilled, happy-go-lucky type, and pretty confident, but he shouldn't be because he is short. How do I get him to know the truth so he doesn't breed with a shorter woman and potentially spawn a manlet?
So I think it's funny here in this one, because one of the things, the incels often blame genetics on their inability to get a girl. So this guy's 5'2", pretty short by a lot of standards, and his brother's only 5'4", but he managed to, in this guy's world, in the poster's idea, his brother only has a wife because he has money and the wife wants the money. But he's also saying that his brother he calls him blue-pilled, which means ignorant, but he's saying that his brother is very happy-go-lucky and very confident, which in all likelihood is how he got his wife, because people don't have to they don't have to focus on one thing and let that ruin their entire life. So this OP has decided that because he is short, his life is over. He's never going to have a woman, and that his brother just happened to be rich enough that rule didn't really apply. But the thing is, he's completely ignoring that his brother has probably a kick-ass personality and is fun to be around, unlike OP. And that's ultimately here, is that your genetics are maybe part of it, but I really hate this whole idea that short guys think they can't get with women. Short guys can get women all the time. In fact, a lot of women are still shorter than quote-unquote short men. I mean, everybody has a preference. Some people like tall people, some people like short people, but ultimately, the best way to up your chances is to be fun to be around. And this guy sees somebody who is enjoying their life and is just like, I must show him how, awful and hopeless life is so that he doesn't enjoy his life and have a family. It's really sad. It's really sad to see all of these incels essentially being up on Mount Crumpet, looking down, hating the Who's, when all they would need to do is just try to integrate a little better and they could be happy. There is a blonde Stacy at the gym I attend, trying to muscle max. She always dresses slutty as fuck, which I don't mind because she is a 9 out of 10. Well, yesterday the gym was pretty empty, and as I was walking by her, I decided to grab her ass because I never have a girl before. Well, she immediately spun around and slapped me hard in the face. I had never been hit before, so it honestly stunned me. When I regained focus, I saw her glaring at me. Then she kneed me in my balls. It was the worst pain I've ever felt. I fell on the ground and could not get up. It was the most degrading thing I have ever been through. She walked away, and when I was able to get up, I ran out of the gym. It's now the next day, and I'm still in quite a bit of pain. I barely slept due to the pain. How the fuck is the first time my junk gets touched by a girl is me getting kicked in my balls? Fuck that bitch. The worst part is she wears a ring. I've seen her Chad husband at the gym before. She goes home and fucks that guy, yet I get sexually assaulted for flirting with her when she's dressed like a whore? I'm fucking done. Fuck everything. Okay, dude, first of all, you weren't flirting, and you weren't sexually assaulted. You sexually assaulted this woman by slapping her ass because you felt like she deserved it because of the way that she was dressed. She defended herself, and you got your junk touched by a knee to the groin because you were being a fucking creep. I don't care how slutty a woman is dressed. I don't care if she's walking around with her tits out, because I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and that's actually something that's legal where I live, though most people don't actually do it. But that even if she is completely topless and walking around, doesn't matter. You aren't allowed to touch her without permission. I know there's a lot of controversy as to whether or not you should be allowed to ogle women dressed in, revealing clothing at the gym. I mean, it might be creepy, but it's, I don't think it should be illegal. I'm very much for the look, don't touch policy. If you go out dressed in a certain way and people visibly notice it, well, that's you chose to wear your clothing. That still doesn't mean people have the right to sexually assault you or harass you, but you can't stop where people's eyeballs are going to be looking. But this incel has so much of a victim complex that he can't even see how awful what he did was. All he can see is that he thinks the consequences of his actions were unfair and evil. It doesn't matter if you've never touched a girl before. You don't get to just randomly slap some girl's ass. And I'll bet the reason that she goes home and fucks that Chad of a husband of hers, is because he didn't slap her ass when she didn't want him to. Honestly, I hope that she did irreparable damage to your ball sack and that you are fucking done. You're a monster. You're unforgivable. You're a creep. Our next post comes from the Black Pill Club. If you experience teen love, none of your problems matter. You underwent one of the most pleasurable, undeniably essential experiences a human being can have. Virtually no problem you could possibly face in life could even come close to the misery of having missed out on what you experienced in your teen years. I don't care if you're in crippling debt, suffer from health complications, or don't have friends. The fact you experienced teen love still makes you inherently privileged, and expecting anyone without that privilege to sympathize with your supposed problems is deeply narcissistic. It's like a Westerner complaining to a starving African child that his internet is slow. Teen love-havers deserve no empathy or mercy. So while he doesn't just specifically state it here, a lot of incels will talk about how they were not privileged enough to have teen love and how that's like screwed them up. They usually often use it to explain why they are all, pedophiles. They're like, oh, I'm attracted to young girls because I never got to be with one, and so it's just stayed in my mind. And, if I could have had teen love as a teen, then I'd be normal now. So I never experienced teen love. I didn't date in high school. Again, I didn't have sex until I was 30. I cannot state that enough, and in fact, I keep stating it. And the thing is, as I grew up, as a normal individual, what I was attracted to changed as I got older. I was attracted to 18-year-olds when I was 18. I was attracted to women my own age, and honestly, as I got older, I was attracted to women my own age, women slightly younger than me, and women older than me. My preferences grew. They didn't stay the same. They didn't shrink. You were able to appreciate beauty in more forms. But when I hear incels talking about how their lives are forever damaged because they didn't get any in high school, they're essentially saying that they wanted to peak in high school. I'm sorry, but I would wager that the majority of high schoolers don't have sex in high school. Now again, there are outliers. There are people who have a lot of sex in high school. Hell, there are people who started having sex much younger than that. But I would say that the majority of people don't get their first, they don't have their first time in high school. Definitely that number goes way down if you're looking at people who don't have their first time in college or in their 20s. Again, 30 is a bit late for a lot of people. I know I'm one of the kind of late bloomers, so to speak, but, definitely teen love is not as common as these incels seem to think it is. If you didn't have sex in high school, I don't feel like you'd probably be missing out on much. It'd just be two people that didn't know what the fuck they were doing. But again, it's everybody's fault but their own. The high school girls didn't have sex with them, and so there's no way they could possibly improve themselves now and dig themselves out of this pit. Nope, it's too late. If looks are subjective, there can't be leagues, and therefore it shouldn't be a problem when incels go for supermodels. Make up your mind, blue pill retards. Yeah, leagues aren't really a thing, that's fine. It is totally cool for you to go after a supermodel, but you also have to accept that looks are subjective, and that supermodel might not be interested in how you look. The biggest thing that incels, well, not the biggest thing, but a big thing that incels fail to realize is that preferences are a thing. The different preferences are a thing. Not all women want tall guys. Not all guys want skinny women. There are a multitude of different ways people can look and a multitude of things people can be attracted to. I remember back in the early 2000s, there was this thing like, oh, the girl's got a great personality, but you can't fuck a personality. Well, if their personality is what turns you on, kinda can. Nobody is saying you shouldn't go after what you want. The problem is when you don't accept that you might not be what someone else wants. What you want matters, but what other people want also matters. And you need to get rid of this main character syndrome. When did you realize you will never be happy? For me, I was 19. This was back in 2014, I think, before I was black-pilled, before I knew anything about this world. I had been bullied throughout high school, humiliated, and had zero friends, zero ability to make friends, and I had dropped out of college due to that fact. I saw my intelligence being wasted, and I knew I'll never go back to college. I'll never make a name for myself. I'll never be respected. I'll never be paid well. I'll never be loved. I had never been loved. I remember the exact moment I knew I would never be happy. I knew it, and I believed it. I was 19. I'm 28. I was so right. I am sorry that you are so wrong, my dude. I know where you're coming from. I was bullied as a child. It fucked me up. It made it really hard for me to want to make friends, and looking back, I could have had a lot more friends than I did. I could have had teen love, as the incels like to speak, and it was my own lack of self-confidence. The fact that, up until I was honestly pushing, late 20s and then pushing 30 and then 30, I little by little got confidence, but I did not have faith in myself, and I wondered why anybody would want to be my friend. Those scars run really deep, but if you tell yourself you can't, then you are correct. As someone who was where you were and has managed to get myself out of it, I really hope you can do that for yourself one day. The world has not been kind to you, but right now, it is not the world that is your enemy. You are your own worst enemy. And until you can defeat that insecurity, you are going to probably be miserable. But I sincerely hope that you find a way through and that you come out on the other side a better and a happier person. And I hope that one day you are respected and that you are loved. And that is my sincere wish for you, whoever you are, internet stranger. And that's going to be our video today, guys. I sincerely hope that you enjoyed these posts. I don't really feel as soul-drained as I normally do after reading stuff from Inceltear, but, I hope that you enjoyed this, and that if you have some of the feelings that were expressed in these posts, that my commentary maybe helped you just a little bit. I believe we all have the ability to be as happy as we allow ourselves to be. And I do sincerely hope that everyone is able to find some level of happiness in this harsh and cruel world that we all live in. And harsh and cruel as it may be, there is points of light, there are items of joy, and there is a reason to keep going and to keep trying. Try to be a little bit better version of yourself every day. It's a long journey, but hey, you've got your whole life to get there. Until next time, everybody, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to help support the channel. Maybe look at the links, buy a mini, join the Patreon, or just share the video around because, again, the more people that see this video, the faster this channel can grow. When I last checked, we are well on our way to 300 subscribers, which is just amazing. So thank you all so much for that. Until next time, I'm Mr. Sean, this is Chimera Miniatures, and from the bottom of my heart, I sincerely hope that you alpha a great day and an even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye.